All right. Salutations, everybody, especially the Israelites that's going to see this video. I greet you. Shalom. Shalom. Ba'asham Yahweh. Ba'asham Yahushai. Ba'asham Harakaman. Hakwad Alham Yasharala. Khan. So there's some updates on my 23. I'm not going to cover all of them. And this particular video is going to be more than just, I think I'm going to cover a couple topics in this video, even though primarily it's just to share an update on my ancestry. Okay, my ancestry reports. Wow, it's like that purple one, that dark purple is the color for the continent of Africa. The blue is for Europe. I think the yellow is for like European. So I got new reports on all my um, 22 chromosome pairs, which would be autosomal and admixture. All right. Okay. That's what I wanted to point out. What do you and Ramesses III have in common? An ancient common ancestor on your paternal line. Wow. And I don't know, but when I first viewed this update to my paternal haplogroup report, there was a link showing you what it was. The EV3. It was linked to the haplogroup, showing you that the haplogroup EV3 linked me in Ramesses. Okay, so I don't. Yeah, so we can just Google it. But that was the. Oh, here it is. All right. You share an ancient paternal lineage with Pharaoh Ramesses III. Okay, so I had previously heard rumors and stuff like that about one of the pharaohs being Shemitic, which is E1B1A. Look at this man. All right, you see this guy? Look at him, man. And you know he was a lot darker than that when they uh just look at the color. All right, it's been whitewashed a whole lot, so he was a lot darker than that. But even still, you can see his features, and they're Shemitic. They're Shemitic features. Okay, I won't call him a Hebrew, but he was definitely Shemitic, a Shemite. Why? Because even though uh, he and I have Shem as an ancestor in common. I'm a Hebrew and he's an Assyrian. All right, that's the difference. This guy's an Assyrian. He's also from one of Shem's offspring, like I am. But that's the difference between he and I. I'm a Hebrew and he's not, even though we're both Shemitic people. So Pharaoh Ramesses III defended Egypt in 3 consecutive wars during his approximately 30-year reign, but provoked dissent within his administration. Catalyzed by mounting internal strife, one of Ramesses' lesser wives, Tayi, hatched a plot to have her son, Pentuer, usurp the throne by having Ramesses III murdered, along with his appointed heir. The papyrus record of the resulting trial explains that the plot failed and that all involved were tried and convicted. However, a modern CT scan of Ramesses' III mummy revealed a deep slit in his throat, reopening a case long thought closed. The embalmers went to great lengths to cover up other wounds, including fashioning a fake toe out of resin where Ramses' real one had been hacked off, likely during a fatal attack. All right, so it sounds like some out of a soap opera, real drama. But for the throne of Egypt, you can see it being something so dramatic as that, right? Crazy. Let's look on. For thousands of years, Ramses' burial adornments concealed the wounds that mark one of the most famous royal dramas in history. Ramses III paternal lineage belongs to haplogroup EV38, from which your line also stems. You see, my line stems from haplogroup EV38 has my line, which is EU290. But this guy, he's not going to be in the M180. Okay, that's probably where you start seeing the tribes of Jacob, if I'm not mistaken. But so it's just that we are ancient, and again, why is EV38 why is it even relevant? Because that's our ancient paternal ancestor, who is Shem. Okay, that's all it boils down to. We both go back to Shem. Ramses III paternal lineage belongs to haplogroup EV38, from which your line also stems. So my line also stems from EV38. Okay, you and Ramses III share an ancient paternal line ancestor who probably lived in North Africa or Western Asia, aka somewhere in the Middle East. Period, point blank. Okay. All right. So while I'm not the descendant of a pharaoh or any of the pharaohs, one of the pharaohs by DNA has been linked to Shem, my paternal ancestor, from which we get Eber, okay, and ultimately Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So let's take a look at the scriptures and show where and how me, Pharaoh Ramses III, relate paternally, okay? And also some prophecy, like I told you. I'm a Hebrew, but he's an Assyrian, all right? But we're both Shemitic men, okay? And he had a pretty glorious kingdom. Matter of fact, we're going to look at a short video, and then we'll get into the scriptures. Seven secrets you did not know about Ramses III. Okay. Black man. Okay. Okay. See all them black people on the wall in Egypt where the Hebrews was made. Okay, show me some Ashkenazi Jews on the walls in Egypt according to the scriptures. Okay, you see how the people in Egypt look, man? Okay, that's right. Beautiful black people. Okay, and they couldn't have been, dumber than they white counterparts, if you will. Because look how they was living while you white people was in the caves, man. What was you white people doing this? You wouldn't thought about nothing. You wouldn't nowhere thought about being great, okay? Praise the Most High. And that's right. That's the real shit, okay? All right? Oh man, genetic analysis, that's what we come here for. Okay, haplotype of the Pharaoh was what? Y chromosome haplogroup E1B1A, all right? Okay? Praise the Most High. E1B1A is common throughout African continent. Hey, man, it's really common, all right? It's common, meaning most populous. You know, okay? All right. Praise the Most High. Good job, Mr. I am Hopetip. All right, so I'm doing a Bible search. And I just typed in Ramses, okay? So we got 5 verses reference in the King James. That's not even dealing with the Apocrypha, okay? Now keep that in mind. So we may even get to something else when it comes down to dealing with, the history of Israel and Egypt, and what relevance my history may have to this guy, all right, Ramses. So so all you Egyptologists out there, okay, we're gonna cut you real good, just by default with this, okay? All right. So the Bible, according to a lot of them heretics out there, the Bible was made up and all this old kind of shit, right? Plagiarism, copycats, and all of that, okay? But the Bible proved more shit than you guys could dream of. And science is just now catching up to what the Bible said a long time ago. So let's cherry pick out of here. I think what I want is really in Exodus, okay? This is what I want. Exodus 12, I think. Let me see. Go to that real quick. Okay. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men besides children. Okay, so that's during the Exodus, of course. Let's get some previous. I would like for somebody to just dispute this. This very probable theory that I have right here, that the nice Pharaoh to Egypt was this particular Pharaoh. We're going to see what's the Genesis 47 and 11. We'll see here when Jacob receives when Joseph, the son of Jacob, receives his brother and his father, Israel, and all that they had from the land of Canaan. And they came into Egypt. The good Pharaoh, the one who loved Joseph. Well, it's very possible that the good Pharaoh that loved Joseph could have been Ramses himself. And Joseph placed his father and his brother, and it gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best place of the land, Salakia, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, in the land of Ramses. You see that? As Pharaoh had commanded. Okay, so there's nothing to say that this land that they were given of Ramses is not referencing Pharaoh Ramses. Okay, and whether it's the third or not, but you can see the lineage would still be one of the Shemites. Now, that's not to say that all the Shemitic people were nice if they were pharaohs. This may have been, just, because of the timing that the Most High had in mind. He wanted his people to get out of Canaan and go to Egypt and flourish there. And look, and Joseph nourished his people. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren, all his father's household, with bread according to their families. Okay, praise the Most High. All right, so let's. All right, so upon further investigation, if you look at the beginning of this story where Joseph introduced his father and his brothers to Pharaoh, you see that they were given allotment in the land of Goshen. Okay, so Goshen is the place where they went. Okay, they are in the land of Goshen, and he took some of his brethren, even five men, and presented them unto Pharaoh. Okay, and so Pharaoh asked them, what do they do for a living? They tell him they're shepherds. All right. And so now they ask for the land of Goshen. They said more unto Pharaoh, for to sojourn in the land are we come, for thy servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spake unto Joseph, saying, thy father and thy brethren are come unto thee. The land of Egypt is before thee. In the best of the land make thy father and brethren to dwell in the land of Goshen. Let them dwell. And if thou knowest any men of activity among them, then make them rulers over my cattle. And Joseph brought in Jacob his father, and set him before Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. You see that? Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Okay. And Pharaoh said unto Jacob, how old art thou? And Jacob said unto Pharaoh, the days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been, and have not attained unto the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage. So in other words, my fathers outlived me, and my life has been short and evil. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. So you see, they were given the land of Goshen, right? And so who owned the land of Goshen? And Joseph placed his father and his brethren and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded him. So you see, Ramses was king in Egypt. The gentle and the nice king. All right. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren and all his father's household with bread according to their families. So this Pharaoh was a gentle and a nice, welcoming, hospitable Pharaoh, even Ramses. This was Ramses. You see that, right? This was King Ramses. See how the Bible will throw that secret in there for you? Ramses, man. Okay? Praise the Most High. So, okay? So now, while Ramses was a gentle and nice king, and I said he was an Assyrian, there were other pharaohs who were not gentle and nice, and who also we know they were certain pharaohs, Assyrian pharaohs. And even though this place, you see that video showed you that this Assyrian held together Kemet. All right, so I go to show you that Kemet is not about being Hamitic. It's just about being black. All right, Shemitic or Hamitic black. Okay, it started in that land, but of course, the greatest pharaoh in history was this guy, this Ramses. Okay. So praise the Most High for that history lesson. So black history, you goddamn heathen. Black history for us Negroes in America, as you like African Americans, it begins before your goddamn Holocaust to us as a people with your transatlantic slave trade. And Black history begins before the brothers who gave you light bulbs and all the, inventions. They gave you luxury of life. A lot of common sense things, to be quite honest. Things that we had in Egypt. We had light bulbs in Egypt, you wicked heathen, okay? So Black history, fuck your February month of Black history, you wicked damn heathen. You see this? How the fuck you'll give us February for Black history when this damn DNA shit just showed you that my ancestry go back to a goddamn Pharaoh, beyond Pharaoh. Me and Pharaoh share an ancient common ancestor. So in other words, I'm amongst the kinsmen of a fucking king, you damn heathen. And that's just the king of Egypt. My father's David. Now let's show you, okay, how just as much as that guy was a nice guy, Pharaoh, there was an evil Pharaoh too, okay? Not so nice guy. And we're going to wrap this one up. This is long enough. For that, still going to be in the Old Testament, Isaiah, as I think I want Isaiah. Yeah, I think I want Isaiah 52. Let's see. I think about chapter 52. Bam, praise the Most High. For thus saith, and 4, Isaiah 52:4. For thus saith the Master Yahweh, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and they seared them without cause. Okay, so it didn't, happen all at once. So we went to sojourn in Egypt. All right, there was an Assyrian Pharaoh on the throne, but he didn't oppress us. There came up other pharaohs, another pharaoh that didn't know us, okay, and they oppressed us, okay. So let's go back to Genesis and just get that. See, because the Most High said they oppressed us without cause, okay? You see that? And I told you that me and this guy share Shem as an ancestor. I'm a Hebrew, but he's a Assyrian. Matter of fact, let's go back to that real quick. Matter of fact, let's just go back to that and get the definition for this word right here, Assyrian, okay? All right. So that word Assyrian is translated from the Hebrew word Ashur. So, okay, Ashur. Now, who is that? Ashur or Assyria, the second son of Shem. Okay? So, all right. So, although these Assyrians aren't, they're not Hebrews, they're Assyrians, but they come from Shem. So they're just Shemitic people, although they're not Hebrews. So Assyrians are the second, they come from Shem, the second son of Shem. That's where you get Assyrians from, okay? So that goes to show you where me and the Pharaoh Ramesses III, and which was if he his of course all the other the previous his predecessors, okay, or his ancestors, because they was predecessor ancestor, all right, they would have been the same if they or truly a kingdom based on the lineage, the throne. Okay, again, the throne was, being usurped by a son of one of his lesser wives, because, again, they all wanted to have the throne based upon their right as an heir according to the bloodline, the lineage of Pharaoh Ramesses. So that guy is a Shemite, okay? So that just go to show you me and this guy are connected because we're Shemitic. He's an Assyrian, but let me show you that oppression that we suffered in Egypt, like we just saw in Isaiah. Look at that. Let's get the Let's get that back down. All right, so my people went down a fourth time into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Okay, so you see that. We went to Egypt. Joseph was known in Egypt. Pharaoh loved him, received him and his brethren and his, his whole entire family. And, they were nourished. You see what I'm saying? The scripture said they were nourished after that process. And Joseph nourished his father and his brother and all his father's household with bread according to their families. All right, so let's look a little later and see where that Isaiah 52 reference is talking about. Okay, the oppression of the pharaohs. All right. So here you see the oppression begins, and this is the first chapter of Exodus, verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Okay? Oh, verse 11. I was just about to cut you Egyptologists before we end this, but let's look at verse 11 before we do that. Verse 11, Exodus chapter 1. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. So this may have been the second or the third. Okay. So this may, this could be Ramses III here. Okay. But as you see, the Assyrian oppressed us. And as you also see by DNA, Ramses was a Shemitic man. And the scriptures are showing you that it was the Assyrians over the land at the time. In Isaiah, it shows you that it was the Assyrians over the land at the time that we were afflicted and oppressed. The Assyrians are Shemitic people. Well, the DNA just shows you that I have something in common with a Shemitic king over Egypt, which Shemitic king is Ramses III, an Assyrian. Okay. And we did what we built Pithom and Ramses. All right. So you see all them great buildings and things over there. The Hebrews built it. Okay. But what happened? But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And so I might just call this the end for now, maybe part one to a continuation. But, there will be more based upon my DNA and prophecy, man. Because at the end of the day, my goal is to unite the lost children of Israel by this very thing, DNA. Just like we just saw. I made the connection between history and the scriptures and science. Okay? The scriptures, historical facts, and science, historical reference, and science. They are connected. All right? I showed you that I was in Egypt. I have relatives who was in Egypt. And I was there as an Israelite, and I had relatives there who were there as Assyrians, pharaohs, kings, okay? Ramses. Well, the scripture just said that Pharaoh, Ramses was Pharaoh, and DNA just said that Ramses was B1A. Let's go back and look at that before we close out. The first steps of your paternal line ancestors led from Eastern Africa. All right. It led from Eastern Africa north towards the Red Sea. All right. Okay. All right. With haplogroup DE. All right. So we broke off again. And then we went to West Africa. We ended up in West Africa. You see that? So you see that, right? I went from A haplogroup A Adam. That's Adam right there. A East Africa. That's what they're saying. I started right there where you see A at. I started with Adam. Now let's show you. The first steps of your paternal line ancestors led from Eastern Africa north towards the Red Sea. Okay? You see that? Now let's keep looking on. So after we went into the Arabian Peninsula, all right? Oh, here, let me look. Here we go. Let's look on right here. Let's finish. Oh, I didn't see the rest of that. Here we go, right here. So it was DE at that time. The DE lineage branched away from his brothers around 65,000 years ago. Now, I don't count those estimations of time. I don't count that fact, all right? I believe that stuff is, a lot of that is just extra to try to separate us, keep us separated from the knowledge of our history. But the migration pattern shows, regardless of how long it happened, the fact is what the migration pattern shows, no matter how long ago or how recent it was. Just remember the pattern of this migration. Among the first, all right, as we branched off, we were among the first of our ancestors to cross out of Africa. Cross out of Africa, where to? Into the Arabian Peninsula. In other words, the Middle East, all right? So you can't say that, oh, it wouldn't be when they started in West Africa. When, you can see my whole damn haplogroup going all through Egypt into the Middle East first, and then we ended up in West Africa. All right? So just keep that in mind. And what did we do? Most descendants of the D lineage belong to one of his two branches, D and E. Men carrying D moved east into Asia, so they went further. And those with E moved where? West. They did more diverse traveling. They went west through Africa and into Europe. All right? So in other words, haplogroup E is where you get all your Shemitic people from. All right? That's right. You got breakdowns that's gonna show how everything comes from D and E, the Hamitic, Japhetic, and the Shemitic lines. Okay, but your Hebrews gonna be EM96 right here, haplogroup EM96. That's your Hebrews. Your path branched off again over 60,000 years ago with the rise of haplogroup EM96. All right. Also simply called haplogroup E. So that's your Hebrews. Okay. The common ancestor of EM96, where was he from? May have lived in northeastern Africa, which is where Israel is, or the Arabian Peninsula. All right. What's that? The so-called Middle East. Since then, his descendants have carried it throughout the African continent and into neighboring regions of Europe and where? Middle East. All right. So I mean, it's just laughable when you Jewish DNA people try and say the Ebos and all these other people who are saying they're ancient Jews. You try to say that they aren't Jews because they don't share the haplogroup of known Jews. But the DNA shows that their ancient haplogroups is in correlation with the history of the ancient Jews, which we get from the Bible, such as the history we just went over, my history in Egypt. Okay? All right. So now let's just move down and see again this guy. This is who? This is Pharaoh Ramesses III. And his haplotype is what? EV3A, also known as E1B1A. Okay? And again, that's not a Hamitic line. All right? That's right. It's a Shemitic line. Okay? And I proved it to you through the scriptures that the Assyrian goes back to Shem. All right? And that's the reason why I have ancestry with a Pharaoh, because I'm not a Hamite. That Pharaoh who I have ancestry paternal, father to son, which you can't change it. All right? You either come from 3 men. All right? Ham, Shem, or Japheth. Okay? And no matter how many different branches and mutations the haplogroup tree has, one thing's for sure. Everybody started right there. And all of my mutations and migration patterns shows you where everybody is to this very day and how they got there. And they try to tell you when they got there. But that's questionable. Okay? Only thing I question is when. But I don't, and sometimes how, because they tell you how we migrated, which, again, it's not always forthcoming at minimum, to say the least. Okay? So that guy, Pharaoh Ramesses III, was definitely wasn't, I don't think he was the good Pharaoh. Maybe he was. But I don't know why the Israelites would build a city called Ramses if it wasn't for a Pharaoh named Ramses. Okay? So maybe, maybe this guy is the bum who afflicted my people, man. And again, that's why I say, we have something in common, but we really don't have that much in common. All right? But it's good to show you. And again, so-called Black History Month. Our history begins way before your fucking slavery. Matter of fact, do we want to just Google that bullshit real quick? Black History Month celebration. Wikipedia. So when you Google Black History, so when I Google Black History, the top search came up was Black History Month, and so that goes to show you that's what they want you to stay confined to when it relates to Black history. They just want you to relate that to a fucking month that's so special that it highlights the history of Black people in the U.S. Oh, by there you go, in the fucking U.S. But it goes deeper than that, you heathen. All right, Black History Month, also known as African American History Month in the U.S., is an annual observance in Canada, Ireland, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, and the United States. So that's all you heathens who's in cahoots and conspiracy to keep this shit on the hush-hush. But it ain't no secret no more, you heathen, okay? All right? It began as a way for remembering important people, important people, good niggers who act right and gave you heathens a better life, right? Yeah, that's right. Important people and events in the history of the African diaspora, okay? It is celebrated annually in the United States and Canada in February, as well as in the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Republic of Ireland in October. All right? So you wicked damn heathens. Okay? That's your version of Black history. All right? But hey, guess what? Again, like I said at the beginning of this video, you can have your fucking Black history and your fucking month for Black history observers. You can have that shit back. Because our shit go way back, further than that shit, Jack. Yeah, that's right. And to end this video, our people, even Israel, made in Egypt, all right? Let's look at the quality of being made in Egypt. Numbers 24:8. Allah brought him forth out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of an unicorn. He shall eat up the nations his enemies, and shall break their bones, and pierce them through. with his arrows. And this is not, oh yeah, Mr. Kevin Wesley, you false prophet, you pussycat, damn hypocrite, okay, who's scared to answer a true Israelite's questions. You talk all that shit. You deceiver. That word unicorn, okay, is make believe. That's the story of Christianity and how the Lord loved heathens. The thing that you keep trying to push as an issue. But we way past that. The God that we was taught about ain't the God of these scriptures. But you try to mock and say the Bible was a plagiarism of Egypt and all that old shit, right? And they talk about unicorns. Okay, who believes in unicorns? Well, let's see what the Hebrew word that this word unicorn is translated from. Let's see what that word is describing. You see that? It's so long in Hebrew you can't even pronounce it. Raim. So what's a raim? It's a rhino. Okay? You damn wicked ass false prophet. Okay? Probably a wild bull. No. Oh, it was the origin. Here you go. Ram. Okay, a ram. All right. Oh, now, from Okay, no. Find another reference. Okay, all right, so I need you apps suck. These apps, they suck pretty bad, all right? But that's as close as we're going to get to the original root, okay? But in the hard copy of the dictionary, you can search it out where it shows you that this thing that's been described as a unicorn is a ram. Let me see if I can find it somewhere else. All right, so, but again, essentially, a unicorn is a made-up animal. The scripture's not talking about a fairy tale. These guys, at the translation department just didn't know what it meant. So they tell you that probably the great oryx or wild bulls, which are now extinct. All right, probably something that's now extinct. Okay, but I'm sure I saw in some biblical definition that it was more than likely a rhino. And let's just Google one of the great bulls. And, that comparison is just to show you the similitude of the strength, okay? It's just to show you to kind of bring you into imagination of the strength that you're dealing with, okay? You deal with, see? So Google, well, they thought it probably was great oryx. They're nothing but just a big ass bull, okay? You see them horns? Okay? Tear your ass up, won't you? Yeah, it will. Okay? Extinct species of large wild cattle that inhabited Europe, Asia, and North Africa. Alright, so I wasn't talking about a little pony with a horn in the middle of his head that you could just kick in the side and break his fucking back. Okay? I wouldn't talk about nothing like that when I say unicorn. Alright? Mr. Kevin Wesley. Alright, till next time. Salutations to the saints. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, share, subscribe. Alright? Leave comments. Salutations.